Today we're going to learn the Lap of Honor, Lesson 4 from course book, Class 10 English. Is it possible to become a great athlete when your arm is paralyzed? Read about a remarkable Olympic champion. Voina kan zirtur hi Olympic champion ropui tak mai ming cher thatak mai ni a mase mi pa ngai ni lawa normal ani lawa a paralyzed ani a ban kha a che thei lo tlat me. One of the greatest runners of this century. Tun century ya atia mase hi hlui to a chancho century kha lo entaila century kan zer pahan millennium hi kum sang khan dan zer ania century chu a period of 100 years kum zadan zel khania chuan tuna hian ani this century atia hi 20th century to 1901 atang 2000 mi khan hi chu hlui to ta tuna hian 21st century kanom zoka 2001 atanga 2100 tikana dot le chia kha 22nd century ni don ni chu kumza dan zela khan century kha a in siam ni. Murray Halberg was almost killed in an accident while playing football. Murray Halberg kha athite pani football apil a khelna khan. He was only 16 then, and his left shoulder and arm were so badly damaged that the arm remained paralyzed for the rest of his life. Chet swalna khan a ban kha a paralyzed tani a che thei te lauta adam chung khan ti chona omta the vein and arteries in the arms had burst. Okay, a picture kan huang hian arteries a vein kha a puak thlat meya, and the doctor could save his life only with great difficulty. Doctor te po khanan chan chuak thei shama. His parents, who had been told he was dying, stood by his bedside. When Murray became conscious, they saw a faint smile on his face. Murray karon har chwaka aron nui sinani. That same smile was to become famous 10 years later. Khan nui sin kha nakina kum som hnuaia khan an mule turani on the Olympic track in Rome when Murray lay unconscious with pain after breaking the world record for 5,000 meter race. Nakina milar tur Rome Olympica world record break turni. So ti huna chua aron nui le sense kha nui nge mai kha aron chun zom le ni chu. Murray was born in New Zealand. And he can New Zealand piangani, but his forefather came from Denmark. Apu tekhachu Denmark atanga aron pe mania. His father was one time a trainer of wild horses. Apa he wild horses trainer ania manlai chuanin motor te an mangtho ma se sakor khan mangna sa sakor kol hi rom thina chutiang trainer chu apa khani chinani. Murray did not have a big strong body. He even weighed more than 50. He never weighed more than 57 kgs. Murray kha taksa chak takpo ni lawa 57 kgs. Ai na tam ngai lo ni. However, he loved all sports. Sports ka chu ngai na veka. After his accident, he had to give up football and basketball, so he took up athletics. So the accident ani nu khan football and basketball ban sana athletic la makana kaltani. Once his coach asked him to run 5 miles to see if Murray had any stamina for athletic. A coach can voi khatsu miles 5 miles kal tur khanatia. Miles kan ti hi kilometer ra chu chuanin mile 1 mile hi 1.609 kilometers ania. Ti chuana coach khanin 5 miles an tlantir chinani ing angi ani don ti kha ena doa. Ti chuan mak tak main lo tlan theya 25 minutes chia amanga lo tlan theya. At this time Murray was still learning to dress and feed himself with one arm and to ride again. Chu ti lai chuan Murray kha ama a kor hak te zira ama a thil e te zira midang than pui na ngai lovin ama a in enkol kha zir me kani hei ki mani pon kan zir tur ania engpo eng de khuna po disable kan ni theya mani in khongoi na hi a om thina midang pui ngai ni lo kha tum tur ania har sa hle ma se nam chang kang zok ti chuanin thei pato pin an ma ni le an ma ni an tran pui thei turin ma an la thina ni Ifa chan pui ro inau ka fa pui ro iu ka fa pui ro ti lovin an mani in midang pui na ngai lawa an thei dan khan zirtirna ni. In 1951, Murray met a man called Arthur Lydiard who became his coach. 1951 khan Murray khan Arthur Lydiard kha nen khan in tonga chu a coach ania. Lydiard had been a famous long distance runner. Lydiard he thui tak tlan thiam tlan thei kha ania, and he had a very new ideas on the training of athletes. Chuan athlete tan khan in training apithiama, he made them run cross country for great distance to build up their stamina. An taksa chak na mangin thui tak tak atlan pui thei ni. By 1953, Murray was running at least 160 kilometers every week. This was 1953, Chokan Murray chu kartin mai khan 160 kilometers Atlanta zia. He won the New Zealand 1 mile, 1,609 meters, and 2 miles, 3,218 meters junior championship. Hey ngatin Atlanta, 1954. Khan Halberg became famous after running a mile in 4 minutes, 4.4 seconds. Aron large na bera chu 1 mile 4 minutes, 4.4 seconds. Khan aron tlan thayani. Chuan a large anta he was invited to run in United States, where he ran a mile race in just over 4 minutes on a wet track. Ti chuan tlan thei te fiaw maya 4 minutes le claim chau kha mangani 1 mile tlan tur khan large ho le ma sekati lai khanin. Meanwhile, Roger Bannister of Oxford University and John Landy in Australia had run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Ai chakhan lo tatlat meni chu minutely I claim kha 1 mile lo tlan thei khan tu te mo Roger Bannister le John Landy kha. For many years, experts had said that it was not possible for a human being to do this. Kubengi mozat so expert te khanin tiang hi thil thei po ni lawantia mithiam ten thil thei lo an soi chu an thei tlat siani. The 1956 Olympic Games were to be held in Melbourne, Australia, and Halberg began to prepare seriously for them. 1956 Olympic Games ka Melbourne, Australia khan nei don Halberg ka tel nge tuma thei pato pinen bot sai. He went to Australia and took up a walk on the farm in order to build up his strength. So Australia pohona kala hey nate thoka huanate mi huanate khane in loa taksati chaknan khan. Australia then had many great runners and Halberg wanted to defeat them. Halberg khan so ho so nge tu mani Australia khan runners thadiu deu khan ya defeat nge kha tuma. Halberg was competing in the 1,500 meter race at Melbourne. Tituan tel chowa 1,500 meters khan atlinga, but in the finals discovered that mere stamina were not enough to win the Olympic race. Maseto finals khan chakna satli aringot khachon Olympic race kha chak theilo ani ti kha amuchwa ka. While thousands of people watched the race in the stadium, mipuiten stadium khan en chup lai khan Murray became nervous and took a lead from the start. Azamta atira train tlan taphat me chaktogin. With so many fine runners in the race, this was a mistake. Michaktam takara chon kakathil fulawani mistake ani. 300 meters away from the end of the race, 300 meters ala omti akan the other runners overtook him. Anon tlan piltani, so they overtook him. Murray was 11th out of 12 runners in the final. Som pani tlanjing khan som pakhatani tade meni chu za thak ta. He was terribly disappointed at his failure. Lo chamna khan na ba po zakle meya. He felt he had let his country down. Ram tana chatok lo khanin shia ram kha ati ama khai nwal ta veka. Was there any use in trying again? Chul don mi han til lepo. Ti khana ru kha ngai to zaklu tuka. In the end, he decided that he would make another attempt. Atopa chuan another attempt. Voi khat til le kha tum tani. Now 23 kumsomni pathumanita, Halberg changed himself from human being into running machine. Mishing atangin running machine. Call ang khan. Ayin change amaka. Aril ruhin thak dang lamta. It seemed he could feel neither pain nor tiredness. Achau the taloni. There was hardly any feelings left in him. Chaute ha te kha shetalo. There was nothing except running in his life. Tlan char domeni. Ha kha she don tolo athei pato pachwa to don. Murray now running in 3-mile races instead of 1-mile race. Ama 1-mile Atlantin ka, 3 miles Atlanta. At once discovered that he was much better at a distance. Thui deu Atlantin iti ka ama po kana in discover ain mutswa kani. Toite chakdeva tlan ang nilaw hi. His timings in these races were as good as the best in the world. Khovela mi chaktak ang ka aphatlat mai ni Atlant speed ka. He and his coach Lydiard decide on a new plan for the race. So a coach Lydiard nen kan new plan thar an nei ta ni. An plan thar chu Lydiard had found that most runners were in the habit of slowing down a little when there were about 3 laps left away from the end of the race. Hey poi mo ni achak na tura niya. A new plan ka chu runners re khan han en khanin atiran tlan zoi ni. This one 3 laps kwal thum vela khanin they got their breath back and talked in hanla. They would make a last sprint for victory. Chak to kin atop thleng khanan tlang to me thinani. Lydiard thought it was at this point that Halberg should make his great efforts. He top na thlen na tur hian Halberg kapo kha Lydiard kana ngai to ta tiang hian ti tura ni ti khan. So he was to race to the front. Ti chuan thakol ka manganga malampanin tlan to nga taking the other runners by surprise. Bidang makti turin afale pel to doni and depend on his great stamina to carry him the rest of the way. Atop thlengin athakol khan atlang to don tinani chu. The plan was tested in British Commonwealth Games at Cardiff. Chu plan new plan tlan dan thar chu British Commonwealth Games Cardiff khan an test ani. He soifia le lokila British Commonwealth ti hi British Commonwealth Games si alar kop meya khovel zongzong Olympic anilawa khovel zongzong tel theina nilawa man lain British hian ramhin opna se em hi picture kan huang hian America te he South America ten khatte le headline he ashing ho hi Africans ram shang te India te bulvel te heta Australia heng ram zongzong hi British kumpinu lal ram kan ti angkha ni ta fek mai ni British khana opveka ti chuan tun hnuai hian anni hi tuna hian chon zale na nei vek to a an mani na indin vek to na chungin shian ringdan khan British Commonwealth Games an nei thina ni ta chuan he India po televizia thina hemi tuma hian Murray khanin a chakle chaklo kha a testa ta chuan in 1958 in the last 1600 meters of the 5000 meter race, hemi racer Han Halberg flew past world record holder Albie Thomas of Australia. World record holder Nilai Meka Ale Peltani chu and won the race easily in record time. Record ka ron thleng ve thlap meni. It was his first great international success. Kaka rampon anga alotlina masaberani chu. The Rome Olympic was still 2 years away. Rome Olympic atil tumnakha kumni khanabaka. Halberg took up a new job in New Zealand and got married. Nupuiten hanite tea nate neya. He ran a number of races without much success. Race danga potlana mase achakvek chwano but was working hard to reach the top. Mase atop thlen kha tumani. Theipa top chwa kha tuma. In the meantime, Lydiard had discovered another great runner, Peter Snell, also from New Zealand. Heti lai hian Lydiard and coach khanin mi pakhat mu chwa tharaneya Peter Snella tlan chak tak mai kha New Zealand khwa mi tho kha. In 1960 came and Lydiard took 2 runners to Rome. 1960 as on Lydiard khan Rome Olympic atan khan khami tlan chak pani Halberg le Peter Snell kha shwai dorani. The people of New Zealand had collected money to send Lydiard to Rome. Mi puite khanin Peter Snell te Lydiard te an pathum kalna tur khanin Rome Olympic an kalna tur khan poisa an khon khoma. Halberg was now just 27. Halberg kum somni pasari ani taboka, the age at which Lydiard had said he would reach his peak as a runner. Lydiard khan he mi hun hi athen san laiber ani ang ti khan soiboka. He had run thousands of kilometers in training na khan he kilometers sang tam tak lo tlan to a, but would he become nervous again in the heat and noise of the great stadium in Rome? Rome khan azam lengim ama ang khanin a boile mayangem mi pui au vela khan ti khazona ni. Halberg reached the finals of 5,000 meter race without much efforts. Chuan 5,000 meter race final tlan thei tur kha an han tlan le china ta chuan olsam takin atling maya. No one paid much attention to this New Zealander with a paralyzed left arm and an ugly running style. Tu man Lydiard kha an mil lawani achan chu tlan dan te khan nan lo boxia. The eyes of the most people were on the strong Germans and Australian runners. Mi pui kha chuan in sek tha tak mai German te Australian runners te kha chakan ringa khalam kha an hoi thup mai ni. Compared to them an ni ngai tua chuan ti khin chuan Halberg seemed to have no muscle at all. Halberg adu chu chakna ring nei lo tha nei lo angkhania. His great desire to win and his plan to beat all other runners was reserved for one day. Khang zong ni enani kha ni khat ruatani. Chu 2nd September 1960. As he was waiting for the start of the race, he heard a great roar from the crowd. Tlan tura in buat salai me kan bipui out home kan chetani, and then loud clapping. His friend Peter Snell had won 800-meter race. Khatia adin lai khan an tlan ma khan Peter Snell kha 800-meter race a khanin lotlin na kharon ni ta pakhata ron ni tamai. It was a great victory for New Zealand. New Zealand tanjon ni na ropui ta kan hi khamini kha. The 5,000-meter race began. This one Murray tichu an tlan na tur chu or in chanta. All the runners started off at a very fast pace. Atlan pui te ho kha tiran tlan chakta phat mai. Halberg was happy because these would help his plan. A plan kha fu che atira tlan chak lo kha midang zon tlan chak chuan ti fu kha in ti don ani. A fu kha na shedone ashiani. The 60,000 people in the stadium never took notice of him. He was far behind the others. Khalaya stadium a thwa zong khan an mel lo re reng. Achan chu mi zong nuwa khan aron tlan. Chowa tha kha la khol kan ti kha. After 7 laps of the stadium, lap sari ala khan, he was still behind them. Mi zong nuwa ala 8 laps. Lap riat ala it was time for him to put his plan into action. New plan kan ti kha atuma kha action. He began to overtake the other runners one by one. Then the New Zealand in the black running dress brought the crowd to his feet. There were 3 more laps for the end of the race. But Halberg was sprinting with unbelievable strength. The people wondered, doesn't he know how many laps are left? With 2 laps left, Halberg had a clear 18 meters lead. So on 18 meters, 1 lap to go, with Halberg still in the lead. But he was clearly becoming weak. His head was rolling from side to side and his teeth were bared in pain. Tlan changin omchuan in shianga tlan siak yan taksa hin na veka ha te hin na veka lu chip te na tlan changchuan in shianga Halberg po hi hetia anani ti kha sia the tlan dan changhan. It was no longer an Olympic final. There were 2 heroes in the great drama. Olympic final satli anilaw. Mi pani han drama ati chu mi pani mi zongzoin an thirpi khawani, both running as if their lives depend on the race. An pani khan mi pani falbi kan oma kha race kanin ngatani kha in tlan siak na khanan an thein zongzoin karen ti kha shiata. Hans Grodotsky, a German, was catching up with Halberg. Hans Grodotsky kanaron phache many Halberg kha. Now Halberg was not fighting the others but himself. So ti lai jan Halberg khan tu ma dang kha mel thelo amma le ma kha a chaw to a thei phato pa chwa kha ngai. His body was crying out for rest. Taksa kha chaw ta ha choladu. It wanted to fall quietly on the ground and go to sleep. Mutha chol kha chakani. His body said that Grodotsky or anyone else would have the race. Taksa in chuan Grodotsky mo tu po chak thei tura khanan langani, but his mind and spirit would not allow the body to win. Amma ero chu ataksa tharau le a theina zong khan tu ma kha chakti ra phal lawang. He could now see the white tape at the finishing line. White tape shui thun kha afa muphani. On the other side of the tap, he told himself he would find peace and rest. Aril ruin solai son hadam na huang kha so shui thun apel huna so chuan ti khana ngai to. Grodotsky was only a few meters behind him as they went round the last bend in the track. Kalain thlen trip khan Grodotsky ka few meters claim alaron phalau dewa. Halberg prepared himself for the last efforts in case Grodotsky overtook him. Grodotsky naron le pello na thei pato kha chwa ve ala chwa sham ni a theina zong at to pa mang to ni last efforts. But Grodotsky never did. Grodotsky non phat thei lo reng. Halberg fell into the tap and rolled to the ground. Halberg kha shui thun na kha aron pela aron ligirlu ta top meya. Grodotsky was still behind. Grodotsky kan nuan la omdei. Halberg's friends gathered around the fallen body. Athian de chuan an bialta. Halberg kha, their mind were full of anxiety, but there was a faint smile on his face. Anan biala anan ena aron nui sena. And lomple meidon ni kami an tlan swat hi ta ka chuan. After his great victory in the 5,000-meter race, everyone thought that Halberg could win 10,000-meter race easily. Khatia olsam taka 5,000-meter race atlen do chuan 10,000-meter race katlan le lo se ti kha rotna kha lo oma. But Lydiard found a change in Halberg now. Mase an coach Lydiard khan claim thu thei lo anyang. Halberg kha ril ru danglam ta tlat mai. The desire to win was gone. Chak tum na kha nei talo. Adang hlot lin len zel na kha du to lo. Murray Halberg had discovered in the last minutes of the race that victory was not so important. Kha atlan top lama kha aril ru rom ta chu chakna ringot kha apoi mo ni lo atiani he had to live his own life. Amma duangin anun ve to ngaya to do other things. He did not run in the 10,000-meter race. Atlan chun zom to lova adu zong atui zong ti ve kha chak tani. When he was returning home, he heard in Singapore that his wife had given birth to their first daughter. Singapore and Thlen Khan and Holama Khan and Nupui Khan Fanu Ashing ti kha shia. Compared to the great prize, the Olympic medals which he had won did not seem very important. This one Olympic medal adon te hi afanu lo piang ni na khai khin chuan afanu lo piang ka hlu ati te zo kan chu. In the next 3 years, Murray Halberg ran many races and won many prizes. Di chuan anu zel kum thu ma chuan al tlan zel thawa loman po tam takala, but never again did he want to feel that he was running machine. Mase running machine ril ru zong theina zong man china nga kha chu he wanted a chance to do something useful with his life. Til tangkai anuna khan ti du tatlat meni. The chance came in 1963, a year in Toronto, Canada. He gave a talk to the meeting of the sports writer. 1963 kan chance anei ta ni midang ta na tangkai ni kha adu na taka kha Toronto, Canada khanin sports meeting a khan hankala ta chuan thute soya. A lot of money was raised. And it was used to help the disabled children of Canada who could not walk or take part in any sports. Canada arwal ban lo no pangtika Tranpui anita sports ti ve thei lo tika anti thei ve na tu khan sports an man ve thei nan khan Tranpui na kha an siama. Murray found that he could make himself useful to his fellow man at last. Murray khan amishing puite laka thil changkai anti ve thei to ti kha in shia. Back in New Zealand, he seriously took up a task of helping disabled children. This New Zealand ahor khan na kha task tu na ania disabled children tan tangkai takin na thok chozela. Many famous sportsmen joined him in his work, and sportsmen tangkai tak te po khan an ron joina rol ban lo te tan an thoka sports an in pan ve the nan khan ti chuan Murray Halberg Trust Fund for Disabled Children was started. This one to trust fund and siama chuan mitam takin lo mang tangkai ta. Murray said that the new victories which he was winning in his work with those disabled children were far more meaningful than that famous victory in Rome on that afternoon in September 1960. Murray kan a new victory so anotly na thar chu heta rong Olympica a hlawtlin ani khana khai khin khan tuna midang tana a tho te big takin disable tana a tho hi atangkai le omzia nei dei zo khan shiani. There were many more victories waiting for him after that. Hlawtlin tam takin aron huak ani chu hlawtlin na ati chu bidang atan puin te disable ho aron hlawtlin zel na kha a hlawtlin na tura khan apuang ani. Question answer hello discuss ngalila tuna alan ahianin must be question number 1 is to rearrange the following sentence to form a meaningful paragraph on Murray Halberg tiania exercise A2 I hi oma I thleng hilanga he chu a story a text sami kha chiara a in dot dana number pe khani meya notebook ati po ngai chuang na banang manin ti me the tura ngai la. Question number 2 hi a question in tan na turania hi lo soi ta ila Murray Halberg was almost killed in an accident while playing football. How bad was the accident? Was he able to play football again? Tiania he extract ania extract omzia chu abu chung la ka hi Murray Halberg was almost killed in an accident while playing football tikani ti chuan zona in azuita he matric exam a chuan a zona hi mark khatte mark ni te aputhina chumi ama ka zira chan tur chonita answer in siamin mark azir khan in chang dona ma se tuna norin siami chuan tlem tu ka siam kha rem lawa amak ina aput dana zir khan mark khatani chuan 1 or 2 sentence kha in siam anga mark ni chuan 2-3 sentence ka tyang khan amak zir zel khan pek tur ni zia mark claim te a khan mark khatlek po kha so zia tek bu khangai chuang lawa 1 or 2 sentence in ti meinga ti chuan hei lo chang do ni la while playing how bad was the accident ti hi heta first page a khanin lawen ula answer kha kan zonga first page a khan a accident na anat dana kha isoidona he was almost killed in an accident first page first line second line kha he was almost killed in an accident while playing football. He was 16 then. His left shoulder and arms were badly damaged and the arms remained paralyzed for the rest of his life. The veins and arteries in the arms had burst and the doctors could save his life only with great difficulty. Ti thleng kha atok thei mai anga ti chuan next question was he able to play football again ti kha heta hnuaia khan in thlale anga second paragraph khan after his accident he has to give up football and basketball so he took up athletic ti khan is yakle meyang. Question number 3 the impossible was achieved. What was the impossible? Who had achieved it? He po hi extract chi kha anita a abu ami che thak ti chuan khata zona om khanita the impossible was achieved ti kha thil thei lo kha thei ani ti kha alo nita a question hi ina zuya hi what was the impossible enge thil thei lo chu thil thei lo ni chena kan soi kha chu to run a race in less than 4 minutes ani kha the impossible was to run a mile in less than 4 minutes 1 mile kha 4 minutes I claim atlana kha John who had achieved it to tinge ti thei kha ti kha chu Roger Bannister ti kha kan sha em Roger Bannister of Oxford University and John Landy an Australian had run a mile in less than 4 minutes page 54 akan second paragraph akan alan kha this one question number 4 lo en leila why did Halberg go to Australia? What did he do there? What discovery did he make at Melbourne? His zona clear nita Australia khan engatinge kal Halberg went to Australia to prepare himself for the Olympic Games 1956 to prepare himself for 1956 Olympic Games in Melbourne tikhania what did he do there enge zukti Australia khan enge zukti ni chan he took up a walk on the farm heta page number 54 alai and ula alaya khan he took up a walk on the farm in order to build up his strength tikhani le meya Australia na thok tikha ati akhania chuan what discovery did he make at Melbourne enge mu chwa athil mu chwa kha he discovered that Australia had great runners come you walk up on the farm ti zo che khan answer kha omngal kha Australia had many great runners and Halberg wanted to defeat them runners how kha defeat vekado tikha anile meya chu next line kha question number 5 what does narrator describe Halberg as a running machine narrator ti zo abu achanchin ziak tu hi narrator ania engtin hi ani hian Halberg as a running machine nga tingi ati na chan ka chu heta page 54 among bera khan ka running machine chungchang ka Halberg changed himself from running human being into running machine. It seemed he could neither feel nor pain or tiredness. There was hardly any feelings left in him. There was nothing except running in his life. Kaka ati na chan chu tlan char kha du to maya khami wang kha ani maya chana tur dang kha chuang lawa. Question number 6. What new plan did Lydiard decide on? Did it bring immediate success? Hey new plan kha page 55 achunga first paragraph khana langa new plan chungchang kha in chana turania. Lydiard had found that most runners were in the habit of slowing down a little when there were about 3 laps left away from the end of the race. Then when they got their breath back, they would make a last sprint for victory. So hnuaia khan in kalkananga, he was to race to the front, taking the other runners by surprise and depend on his great stamina to carry him the rest of the way. Atira muang chang na tlananga atha kholanga tichuan midang atha khol karon mang chowanga midang zongzong ka ain dotin ron tlan pelanga atha khol zongzong ka top thlengin mang to don ti kha a new plan kha ni kha. Question number 7. Why was eheta hianin did it bring immediate success ti kha kha chu hlotlin na kha inge ken. The plan was tested in British Commonwealth Games at Cardiff, Wales in 1958. Next paragraph kha. In the last 16,000 meters of the 5,000 meter race, Halberg flew past world record holder Albie Thomas of Australia and won the race easily in record time. It was his first great international success. Tison learn to infer learn to infer the people wondered, doesn't he know how many laps are left? What made them wonder? Do you think Halberg did not know how many laps were left? Hepo extract thawania abu mi ngai khan lak chu ania tichuan zo na kha tahian intrana. What makes them wonder tika ngatigi mi puite khan khatiang khan soi ashelawa mi atlan za torla omkhu antina chan kha kami answer ka chu new plan kha kha in chang le me ngani china question number 6 sami ang tho khan an plan ani a atira tlan chaklawa an huat tlan chak tur ti kha kami khejak le me nga. So, do you think Halberg did not know how many laps were left? Ashelawa mi laps la kha tika ania kha ka chu sherenge tero. Halberg knew very well it was his plan. He made his great efforts to race to the front and to take all his to use all his last efforts to win the race. A theina zong kha atop thlenga a race in tansiang na chaktura in prepare na zok khanita. Number 2, there were 2 heroes in the great drama. What were the great drama? Who were the 2 heroes? Who emerged as a final hero? There were 2 heroes in the drama. Tikacho amonum tolu toka in tansiang na khan atopa afal pani ka zona ka aron zota ne 2 heroes aticho. What was the great drama? Kamikacho the great drama were the 2 heroes. They were both running as if their lives depend on the race in the finals. Tika heta atek sakhan in ula atopa antlan dan kha page number 56 sakhan atoplam last paragraph akhan first 2 lines sakha last paragraph takhana oma azona dang le chu he who emerged as a final hero tunge chakta zo kha ka chu in chang thei mayanga. Question number 3. What change did Lydiard find in Halberg after his great victory? What had brought about this change? Lydiard akhan Halberg akhan enge danglam naron hu takha tikhanita. After the great victory, he chu adang lamna kha chu win chakzel kha du to lo kan tikha chakzel kha atumani to lo chu page number 57 amonga khan. Lydiard found a change in Halberg. The desire to win was gone. Tikha Halberg had discovered in the last minutes of the race that victory was not so important. He still has to live his own life and do other things. Kang velkha ania tin helai afa tipo khaizia telzel theta fa lo ne lom ziate. When he heard that his wife has given birth to their first daughter, compared to the great prize, the Olympic gold medal which he had won did not seem very important. Kang tipo kha ibel theya alom man lak ai chuan an nupui na fa lo ni kha kalom zo ke ti thu te kha ama anun zong atla na mang kha tuna chuan ama do dang na mani ti kha kami chungchang kha iziak meidon ani ti chuan khati zong kha tu na kan zir thei chu ani e kalome